So now let's move to a new concept called tokens. So designing tokens. So generally, so what is the purpose of using tokens? A token is a pre-built, a predefined CSS. So when you define a document or when you define some application, one application. So if you need a common CSS across the application, let's say common font size, common font color, common font style, and headers and borders. So if you want to make all are similar, then what you can do, you can define some predefined CSS, which is similar to external CSS. In Visual Force and Apex, we define external CSS file. So from the external CSS file, so we can reuse the CSS attributes. Similar way, if you want to define a common structure to the application with the common CSS attributes, we can define one token. A token is nothing but a CSS, a pre-built predefined CSS. So you can define a set of attributes in one file, that is a token file. So whenever you want to use that file, you can reuse it, or you can, if it requires. Suppose if you don't want to use the CSS from the token, you can use your custom CSS. If you want to reuse it, you can reuse it. So it gives a unique structure to the entire application. Let's say even if you observe a Salesforce documentation. So if you observe the Salesforce documentation, it has a unique structure. So not only Salesforce documentation, any documentation having the unique structure, it has the same font. Let's say, uh, so it won't be like some pages are having some font style, some other pages are having the other font style. So it's a unique structure they maintain in the whole document. So because it gives some unique structure, all headers are having with a bold, or the content having with a different font style, having the equal font size also. So that is a token concept. So in Lightning also, if you want to define a unique structure to the application, you can use that. So what you need to do, the first step one is you have to define a token file with the name default tokens. So you must define the name with the default tokens, and in the default tokens, define all the common CSS attributes. Define all the CSS attributes, and the structure is, and the syntax is Aura token. It has a name and it has a value. So name can be any name. You can specify any name. Let's say width, and value is the actual CSS value. Let's say 500 pixels. And Aura token name equal to font size, value equal to, I want to display font size 20 pixels. You can do this. Aura token name equal to font color, I want to display font in blue color. You can define like this. Aura token name equal to padding, value equal to 20 pixels padding. So like this, you can define different Aura tokens within a default token, file. Then you can refer those CSS in styles. So let me show you. You can define n number of attributes. There is no limit for it. New, and here is the lightning tokens. Just define lightning token. So lightning application, lightning component, interface, even we already worked on these four. Now we are working on lightning token. So this name must be default tokens. Define all of your tokens here. A number of them, width, font size, font color, padding, margin left, margin top, border. If you want to define height, you can also define it. So like this, what are all the common attributes that can be used in an application? Define everything. So this is a default token file. Tokens or a token name equal to and value equal to. Now we just implemented one requirement. Open the component. So this is a component we just implemented, the component body. So what I can do, I can reuse the CSS. So I can reuse the token file in any component. I'm just showing the existing component, or you can create a new component and implement whatever you want. But how can you implement? How can you implement an existing here? So this is an existing component. So what you can do, you have here you are using the style. This is the style, but the same CSS is also there in the token file. So you have the margin left, width, border, margin top. You have there in the token file. So you can reuse it. Go to style. Just define one class name. Let's say div box one. You just define all the attributes. Margin left. Generally, what you do, you will give 100 pixels here. Or what you can do, token of margin left. You can directly take the CSS from the token file. So this will refer this value margin left. So which gives 100 pixel. So it will replace us 100 pixels here. So what it does, it will give the unique structure. So you can use the same token anywhere. No need to specify the values. Margin left, margin top, margin top, border, what else is there? Border is there, margin top is there, width. So directly you can call the class name here. Style instead of style equal to, you have to use class equal to div box one. Same way. So here is a padding 20 pixels. Here is a padding 20 pixels. What you can do, you can define another class here. Class equal to div box 2. This is a subclass. So for inner div elements, so you have to do what you have to do, this space dot box 2 padding token of padding class equal to div box 2. So there is no change in the CSS, but see the difference. When I click on show data, you can see the same output. There is no change in the output, but the font is in blue color. Let me change the color. Color token of font color, font size, token of font size. So you can define any names here. So you can define these names. You can define any names here, and when you use the name, it will reflect the value. You can see the difference in the font and color, size, and the width and all. Earlier the style is different, now the style is different. So this is how you can use a token. Or if you want to use, let's say I don't want to use class, you can specify your own style here. If you don't want to use any token file, you can use your internal CSS. So which gives an unique structure. A common CSS will be defined somewhere, which is a file default tokens. So you have to use the same name. Default tokens is the standard name. So because it will when you use the token, it will always look for a default token.